So it's currently raining outside and it is super gloomy, but on the inside I'm wearing my most favorite color top, which is a very light yellow, just to keep the moods up. And I thought it would be a nice time for a story. So in this story I am the main character because the story is about something that happened to me some years ago. I think it was in 2018 or 2017, and I was traveling back from Goa. So this is something that happened on the way back from my trip to Goa, and it is the most unforgettable, I don't know if I can call it near death, but I really felt it was life-threatening and pretty scary because I am not somebody who generally travels alone. I don't. So this was the first time that I was ever traveling, and I traveled back alone from Goa. And this incident is all about that. So if you want to know, stay tuned. It's going to be quite a bit of a lengthy video. I will even put up, let me see, an FIR, a file that I had to file that day. And if I think I have a copy of the document, I will put it up here. And if you're interested, then do stay tuned. I also have my cup of tea over there, so it's a pretty good vibe, gloomy, and my hot cup of tea. And I thought, why not? Let's just join in to have some tea and some chit chat while you listen to my story. So the reason I am putting this up now is because I have actually been wanting to do this for quite some time. I've been wanting to give you do something like this, and I thought this would be the perfect time right now because my baby's asleep and the weather is just so good, and I just feel like narrating something, and no other better incident to speak than about this. It could also bring out some awareness to you guys, or you could also let me know what you think, and your comments, comment whether you've had similar experiences and what was it like and what did you do. So without further ado, I will begin my story. Okay, so on the 16th of May 2018, I confirmed the date, as per the report, the FIR report that I had to file. This journey of mine started on the 16th of May at 8 o'clock in the evening, where I had to board a bus from Panaji to Bangalore. And I boarded the bus at around 8 p.m. in the evening, and when I reached there at the bus stop at Panaji, I mean the driver, and I think he had an assistant. So there were like 3 people. I think there was a cleaner, like someone maintained the bus, like a maintenance guy, and the driver and his co-helper, I suppose. So they were checking out the names and the lists of the people who had arrived, and sending, just like how they do for every other journey and every other tourist. So they were checking out our names and our IDs and everything. So my friend came and dropped me. I boarded the bus, we said our byes and everything, and I got a seat which was it was a sleeper bus, and I had gotten the seat which was like the very second seat, which was on the single side. The double beds were on the other opposite side, and we were and I was on the single side on the left hand side of the bus. So I was in the very second row, and I like to, since it was like my first time traveling alone, I wanted to assure that everything was like, I was super comfortable and super safe and everything like that. And so how the buses come with those curtains and things. So I had a clutch in my hair. I kind of draw the curtains close, and I clutch the curtains. So the reason I'm telling you all these details is because it is kind of important in the story, and as to you will see how and where it actually leads to. So So like I said, I went and I boarded. I sat over there. I settled myself down. It was 8 o'clock, and everything was fine. I mean, the way the journey began and everything was fine. I not only, like, clutched the curtains together because I did not anyone to, peep in. I liked the kind of privacy, and I didn't even want anybody to like look in. And I kind of, pulled in my curtains and tucked them on the sides of the bed at the head and my foot, so that it was like a little room. I literally created a little room over there, and I was like, thinking to myself, like, okay, here I am, finally trying, traveling by myself. And I've had plenty of friends traveling to and fro, in buses and things like that. And for me, it was the first time, so I was a little nervous. But then more than being nervous, I was actually excited. Like, here I am, finally, I'm doing it, and things like that. So once I comforted and cozied myself in, I generally don't sleep when I travel with my family and things like that. So I thought it's going to be the same here. I wasn't feeling even a little sleepy throughout, and I thought, I would just like recline. I do have a habit of saying my prayers before I go to bed every day. So I did say my prayers, and entrusted the rest of my journey in God's hands, and that everything happens well, and I reached back safely. It was like what, maybe 9-10 hour journey, or maybe 12 or something like that. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, I would have reached the next early morning at around 7 a.m. max, maybe. So I mean, just a matter of hours, right? So, and I would have someone to pick me up from the bus stop and come home. So that's about it. But little did I know what was going to happen at that point in time. So it was at around 8:15 where we left the bus stop, and we journeyed a bit. So I was like looking at everything on the way, and listening to some music after saying my prayers and everything. And I do believe that I have a guardian angel, so I did tell my guardian angel. I do speak to my guardian angel, so I don't know what you think about it, but that's what I do. And I just said, like, to take care of me as I sleep, or if I happen to sleep, to take care of me. So what happened was, at around 8:15 when we left, we drove about for maybe an hour or something. Maybe it was somewhere around an hour and a half, something within that time. So we kind of stopped at a place, I think at around 9:15 p.m. And I remember seeing right outside my window, we stopped somewhere, and it was kind of a lonely road, and I don't remember the location at all whatsoever. I just remember seeing that there was a building, and a peachish orangey kind of a building outside, and I don't know, I think it was a school or something of that sort, which obviously wasn't functioning at that time, or wasn't, it wasn't working hours anyway. So I just saw that, and I don't remember when. We were there for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and I dozed off. So I don't even remember feeling that sleepy, to be honest. And I already had my dinner before, so I don't know whether I thought that maybe people would have stopped for dinner, because on the other side there could be dinner. Like I said, I secured myself in so much that I didn't even bother what was happening on the other side of the curtains, and I was just like paying attention to this side. So when I looked out, I just saw that, okay, I didn't even put that much attention to seeing people either getting off or getting onto the bus, but I did see the driver and his helper getting off or something of that sort. And since it had been like 1 hour 45 minutes or 1.5 hour into the journey already, so I didn't pay much attention to it, and I dozed off at that point. So all I remember seeing was that school building, or that whatever building, and waiting there for some time, and then I see this driver and this co-helper, whoever, getting off the bus, and I dozed off. So after a while I woke up, and it was at about, I think, 1 a.m, somewhere around 12:30 past 1 a.m, somewhere around that time it was. And I suddenly woke up and I looked at my phone. Unfortunately, the battery on my phone was also dying, and there was like maybe 15% of battery left or something. I remember this so clearly because I think everything kind of like, it seemed really like a movie, kind of a serial kind of a scene, and so unreal. But I'm so fortunate, guys. I'm so blessed. Like, anyway, so coming back to the story, so 15% of battery, and I looked at my phone and I was like thinking, you know what, okay, I was still in that drowsiness, that sleepiness and everything, and I looked out the window, and at 12:30, 1 o'clock, that time, I see the same building outside the window, the same building, and I'm like, what, like, where are we? I just peep outside and I see there's absolutely nobody there, and we're still there by that same school building that I saw when I dozed off to sleep, which was like almost 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours before. And I was like trying to wonder what's happening and everything, so I was just like reclining in my place, and I was like, okay, fine, maybe, you know what, the bus broke down, I was having some kind of an issue or something, and let's see what's gonna happen. Maybe if there's something wrong, somebody will come and tell me something. And then I just happened to look on my side where the curtains, where I had secured the curtains and everything. When I saw that, the curtains were undone, like, and my clutch wasn't there anymore, and the curtains from the sides were also pulled away, like they were pulled like as if somebody has like opened it and peeped in and gone. And I'm like, what's happening? I just like was sitting in my place, like I was reclining like this, and I kind of like, I looked out, and I saw the seat in front of me diagonally in the front, just behind the driver's seat, that the two beds, those were empty. And then I saw the seat on above that, and those were empty too. And I thought, you know what, okay, maybe these people would have come to their stop or something, and they would have like gotten off or something of that sort for a break or something. And I looked for luggage, I didn't see luggage. And I'm like, I just sat back waiting there thinking, I just started feeling something was off, something was weird. And anyway, I like peeped out, and I looked outside my seat towards the front seat, the seat just before me. And trust me, there was nobody in that seat as well. And then I'm like, what's happening? And then I look at the seat right next to me. There wasn't anybody there. I kind of peeped at the back and I didn't find anyone, and I was still very drowsy, and I was thinking like, what exactly is happening? I mean, I'm sitting here and there's nobody else here. I just got off, and I was barefoot at that time because I tucked my shoes under the bed, the sleeper bed, and I walked up right to the behind of the bus, and I saw there was absolutely nobody in the bus. And the behind of the bus, generally they have these curtains drawn where obviously that's how they have the decor within the bus and things like that. So I kind of saw that, and I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening right now. I walked barefoot right to the door of the bus in the front. Neither was the driver there, nor were the helpers or the attendant or whoever, and neither was any other passengers over there. And then I just go to the door of the bus and I peep outside, and I see that there are a few people standing outside on the road behind the bus all the way at the back, and I just see like 2 or 3 heads maybe, and that's about it. And it was all happening in the dark. The road was absolutely like it was empty. There was no one on the roads. It was very lonely, and just these few 2-3 heads that I could see at the back over there, and sounded like some commotion or something of that sort. I'm like, okay, you know what, let me go and see. I thought I would just get on as is. So then thinking that I was, I did not want to walk on the road that way. So I went back to my place, and I wore my shoe on. So my luggage was still at my seat. I wore my shoes on, and I got down from the bus, and I walked up right to the back of the bus where I saw there was some kind of a commotion happening. And guess what? There was another bus. So if this was my bus, we were facing the road to go towards Bangalore, and there was another bus that was just behind, which was almost, we stopped at the side of the road because I think our bus broke down, and the other bus that came in had come in and stopped right, like half into the side of the road and half onto the main road. So it was like as if it was going to move off, like it was going to move away. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? So I see a lady standing there, a co-passenger. I did not know anybody else in that bus, whoever was traveling that day. I did not know any of the other passengers or anyone. So I walk up to this lady who I see, and I'm like, are you from this bus? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, what's happening? And apparently she looked at me and she was like, so these people, like the bus driver, the helper, and the other attendant, they kind of are telling us that the bus has broken down and they cannot, move forward with this bus. So they're giving us another bus for now, and the second bus that I looked at was much smaller than this bus. And like, I think we were like 19 to 20 passengers that day, and none of them were 19 or 29. I don't remember the number of passengers really, but quite a bit of passengers you wouldn't fit comfortably in the other bus. You would definitely get it would be too crammed up because there's a lot of luggage, there are a lot of people who are traveling and everything, so the luggage and the people wouldn't have much space over there. So she told me that they're giving us this bus and they're asking us to go all the way to Karwar or wherever in that bus, and then another bus will come pick us up from there and drop us to Bangalore. So the reason they had a problem with it was because we paid so much for a ticket to travel comfortably in this bus, but for the bus that we are getting, is not even worth the comfort we get in this bus. I mean, it's really a bad one. It was like a bigger van, I would say. And so they were not willing. Her husband kind of found out to be an issue, and that's when he raised his voice and he said, you know what, before they moved out, we just stopped them and we said, we're not going to go all the way this way. It could be some kind of a trick of theirs to make money or whatever deal, or this is how they might be cheating passengers and things like that. So that is what they said. And she suddenly looked at me and as she was narrating all of this, and she was like, excuse me, where were you? So I then tell her that all this while I was like in the bus sleeping over there, and I just woke up and this is what I see that there's nobody in the bus, and it's like my luggage is still back there. And she was like, what are you doing? Go bring your luggage and come. And then at that point in time, I think it clicked both of our minds together as to what exactly was going on. I just turn and I look at the driver, and I feel very, very awkward and weird right then. I walk up to the bus, and since she had asked me, she was a little older than I was, I suppose. And I walk up to the bus and I was getting my luggage, and that's when the maintenance guy, or the maintenance boy was like, he comes following, and I was like picking up my stuff. And I think I just had one bag and a cover or something of that sort. I don't really remember that even. But I was just taking my bag out, and this guy comes up, and then he was like, he was literally having a smile on his face, and I'm like, I didn't know Hindi that fluently well at that time, so I was like, आपने मुझसे कुछ नहीं बोला, मैं तो यहीं पे सो रही थी. And he was like, नहीं मैडम, गलती हुई and all. He said that, and I just didn't know what more to say because of my difficulty in trying to converse with him in Hindi. And I just took my bag and I was like walking by, and he just came following behind me again. And I think he was just like 17, 18, 19-year-old. He looked like he was still in his late teens. And I just walk up, and then I was telling that girl, by then there was a police van that was going on their rounds at that point in time, and they were patrolling. And by then it was almost 1:30 a.m. and somewhere around 1:30 a.m. kind of a timing. And I just realized, I just saw that girl had gone up to the police guy, the lady who helped me, who like told me what was happening. She walked up to the police guy, and she was like, this girl was still left all alone in that bus when we were all about to leave in the second bus. I don't know what these guys were thinking, the driver and everyone. Of course, they have the list of names of the tourists that they, that are boarding their bus that day. They know the number of people who are there. And if such an incident happens in the bus, they are supposed to, make sure every passenger on that bus, every passenger in that name list has to be boarded onto the second bus if it's a genuine breakdown, if there is something like that. Even if it is a genuine breakdown, they should make sure that every passenger boards in the second bus That's what responsible tours and travelers, these bus travels have to make sure of, that every passenger gets on. And since I was a girl traveling alone over there, it only looked like it was a very planned out thing by then. I cannot think of anything beyond or anything otherwise, because when I was sleeping, I secured myself, and when I woke up, the next thing I know is the clutch is missing and my curtains are open. So they were very, very well aware that I was right there, and they deliberately did not wake me up. That is what we saw it as, and that is why I said that this was life threatening. So I it's kind of scary at that point in time when I realized everything that was happening. I don't know what they would have been planning. And when I looked at the drivers at that point in time, they were literally having a grin on their faces. And when the lady asked them, like, why did you not wake her up, and why did you not inform her, they were like, oh, we didn't know she was there, or we didn't know that she was asleep over there, and what was she doing. Like, they tried to put it on me, like, it was my fault for not knowing that the bus broke down or something of that sort. But if they were responsible, they would have made sure that every passenger got off safe and boarded the other bus safely. But that's not what happened in this case. So we walked up, so the police was discussing with us as to, what do you want us to do? And they said that, they even called up the particular bus, the travels manager, or they called up the customer support or something of that sort, and the response they got was very, very brash. They were like, this is the second bus that we gave you all, is all that we can arrange right now. If you all don't want to travel on it or whatever, don't travel, or just do whatever you want to do, or this is what we can do. So it was, that's what they said. So since I wasn't there at that point in time, this was what was told to me, that this was what the bus, those travels head had spoken to them and told them. So fortunately, these people who had traveled with me, they were very, very helpful in helping me that day. And they were like, you know what, this shouldn't be, left right here. We need to go to the police station. We need to file an FIR, because this has been like a threat to your life. Just to think about the fact that what if that second bus left